Good day, my friends. This has been a very busy week for your American Association of School Administrators. And I want to thank you because everything that we have done this week, the advocacy role that we are playing on your behalf, is made possible by your membership dues. And I want to remind you how important it is for us to have a substantial membership base so that we can continue to do the advocacy work on your behalf. So please, if you are not a member of AASA, I would encourage you to go to our website, aasa.org, and there you will find information on how to become a member. Join us so that we can continue to work on your behalf. And what we have done this week on your behalf is that we've been presented with the administration's blueprint for the reauthorization of ESEA. And we find the blueprint to be very interesting. There are things about it that we like, and there are things about it, frankly, that we have some objections to. What we do like is what is undoubtedly a clear goal that is being presented here by the President Obama, that in essence states that our mission, our goal is that by the year 2020, the United States of America will lead the world in the percentage of students that graduate from college. To us, that is an obtainable and realistic goal, as opposed to the goal that we have been laboring under from No Child Left Behind over the past 8 years, that suggests that by the year 2014, every school district in America will be meeting adequate yearly progress as currently defined. So we appreciate the goal. We also appreciate the change in accountability. We are very anxious to get under the provisions of making adequate yearly progress for the many reasons that we all understand. And this proposal basically would put an end to adequate yearly progress as it is currently computed. We would be moving to a very different type of accountability that would focus on growth as opposed to measuring last year's third grade class with this year's third grade class. Rather, we would be measuring the performance of last year's third grade with that same student as a fourth grader. And that makes a great deal more sense. We also appreciate the flexibility that the blueprint presents to states and school districts to incorporate other areas, other subject areas, other criteria for evaluating performance, and we think that's a step in the right direction. At the same time, however, we're concerned with the fact that the instruments that are being used today, the standardized tests that are being used today, have been referred to by the President and the Secretary as inadequate, inappropriate, lacking reliability, validity. Yet the proposal would suggest that we continue to use those same tests to identify the schools that are not performing at the level that we want them to perform, and further to be used to evaluate our teachers and our principals and the performance of the district as a whole. So we would suggest that that not be done, that in the interim, until the new assessment systems are in place, that school districts be given the flexibility to use the kinds of benchmarking and assessment systems that they have in place that are valid and reliable, and that information be put forth by the district by way of proving that they're doing the work that needs to be done. We appreciate this proposal talking about rewarding schools and moving away from just the negative aspects of No Child Left Behind, so that it's not totally punitive, but whereas we identify the lowest 5% performing schools in the country, at the same time we would identify the 10% at the top who are doing a good job and provide rewards for those schools in the way of flexibility in terms of how funding is used. We're very concerned with the blueprint to the extent that it promotes competition and competitive grants. Secretary Duncan has stated that education is a civil right, and we couldn't agree more with him. But at the same time, if education is a civil right, then a child's civil right should not be subject to competition. And that's in essence what we are doing now, that we would be taking Title I dollars that have traditionally been formula grants that have gone to the schools and the school districts that have the numbers of youngsters of poverty that require those dollars to even out the playing field. If we begin to take Title I dollars to make them competitive, then what happens to the number of students who are not winning the competition? And that's something that we don't believe should be part of Title I. We also are concerned that the amount of data collection that this blueprint calls for is significant. You're talking about the collection of data, the analysis of data, the reporting of data, the use of that data. That we know is going to become an unfunded mandate. There's nothing in the blueprint right now that suggests that there would be an increase in funding to cover those costs, because as we look at the proposed budget for 2011, the formula funding for Title I is flat funded. The increases are going for competitive grants. So actually this would amount in a cut, basically, of Title I funding for districts around the country. We're also concerned about the turnaround models that are being suggested for the lowest 5%, lowest performing schools in that 5% group. The four-around models really are very prescriptive and in some extent punitive, and not appropriate really for the majority of school districts in America that are rural and small. It would be very difficult for small rural communities to be able to do what's suggested here. And we would suggest that a fifth option be provided, which is already in the blueprint as an option that would be available to the reward districts. That option being that the district had the opportunity to implement a research-based model as an intervention strategy as that fifth option. And we feel that that option would be a valid option for all schools, not just the reward schools. Interestingly enough, almost gratuitous, we feel there is a line in the blueprint that talks about the option to replace the superintendent in these challenged schools, challenged school districts. And we would suggest that there isn't an employee that is more accountable today than the superintendent. That boards of education already hold superintendents accountable and already replace superintendents when they choose to in districts across America. So we don't see this as anything other than a gratuitous line on the part of the department in putting this in the blueprint. We do appreciate, I want to finish by saying, the degree to which AASA has been included and involved in the development of the blueprint. Again, as I said, there are many areas that we're very pleased with and very much would support and want to move forward, including passing ESEA this legislative session. It's very important that we get away from the No Child Left Behind rubric and begin the process of dealing with a reauthorized ESEA on a timely basis. So we very much support that, and we look forward to continuing discussions with the department and certainly with our representatives in Congress as this process moves ahead.